So.
Hello there, I'm Zentai Ninja and this is Make It So. So now we're on our second point on how to make a Spider-Man costume. In our last video, I went over the making of the bodysuit. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the mask, the gloves, the boots, and the webbing. For the rest of this costume, you will need to make yourself a set of body forms. There are plenty of tutorials out there online, but the ones that I made are made from foam, poster board, and duct tape. Now, one of the reasons why I did this is, well, for starters, it's easy. And secondly, I can simply slide it behind my bed or hide it if I have to. Now, what I have here are 3 different mask styles that you guys might end up going with. Our first mask is what I call the butt mask. Why do I call it that? Well, if you haven't noticed, there's a straight seam going straight down the middle. So this is a very simple mask to make. All you basically do is you just trace around your head. Refine that, do any reduction or increases that you think you need, and voila, you got yourself a butt mask. This is a great beginner mask. The best costumes I kind of recommend for this is probably with the Amazing Fantasy number 15 mask and the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon series. But other than that, this is a fairly good beginner mask. Our next mask is the one that you get if you follow the instructions from Weapon Creation or from usai.net. Unlike the butt mask that have a seam going straight down the middle, this one have a face area plus you have of course your center seams going straight down the back. Okay, out of the 3 styles of masks that I have shown you, this is probably the one that you get the most versatility and flexibility out of. For starters, obviously I could probably use this thing as a Rorschach mask, but I can also reuse this same pattern to make a, well, campy Batman cowl and several other different characters and costumes. Our first style is the Raimi style mask. I really like this pattern just because of there is a seam that going directly towards where your eye holes are going to be. Now the overall fit of this mask is very good, and I know it does fit around the face quite nicely. So I can't say it's as flexible as this mask, but overall I do like this pattern. So for those of you guys who want a nice fitting style, go with the Raimi style, but fortunately there are no instructions on how to make it. Okay, there have been so many different eye designs for Spidey, it's just not even funny. Now the eyes have gotten bigger over the years. In some cases, now more recently, they kind of gotten more to a medium size. Now another thing, in the comics, the eyes are described to be a mere plastic lens, which protects his eyes from dust and debris. Essentially, they act as a pair of goggles or sunglasses. First, I designed my eyes in MSN paint. You can use Photoshop or Corel Paint Shop, whatever. But when I made my eyes, I made two different sets. A set with just the outline and a solid line. The reason why I did this is simple. I printed out and cut both sets of eyes. I left plenty of room around the outside of the outer line for cutting later. Now the solid set I cut closely, but what I did was I left one of the solid set intact, and I cut the inner white part out. I did this so I can position and test where the eyes are in relation to the eye hole. And now I am cutting my eyes out. The material I'm using is fake leather. Again, I've seen plenty of people make actual eye lenses. I used washable glue and I glued it on to the fake leather. Then I cut around the out. Then I cut on the line with a scalpel to get the eye frames out. Okay, unfortunately I haven't been able to find any mirror-like plastic that I can use. So I went what most people tend to do is that use mesh. Well, because I wasn't going for that white comic book mesh look that most people tend to go with, I went with a silver mesh. And the ones I found had silver polka dots on it. That kind of give it that nice bug eye look. Now before you glue anything on to the costume, you may want to test out different glues to see which work best. However, there is one thing I recommend you do not use, is hot glue. I have used hot glue before and it doesn't stick as well and it just makes a big mess. Alternative glue I may suggest is Gorilla Glue. But other than that, just use that speed sew stuff. So once the eye frames have been glued on, then I attach them to the mask. Wow, there have been a lot of different spider designs. Spider over the years, it's just not even funny. Technically, his spider has remained very. I'm making my spiders out of fake leather. Just because that's the same material I use for the eye frame. Okay, if you can't draw a simple spider or know that spiders have 8 legs, well then you're an idiot. The spider that I use for my costume is of my own design. Now, the back spider hasn't changed a whole lot over the years. In the comics, it remained fairly consistent. However, the classic design for the back spider looks like a tick. What was that? Never mind. And just like I did for the front spider, I went with my own design. Before you even print the spiders out, you should measure the space on the shirt that you think you would need for this costume. For my chest spider, it was about 7 inches by 5 inches. My back, I remember, I think was 12 by 14. Now to cut out the front spider is pretty much the exact same way as I cut out the eye frames. However, I recommend you save that the cutout piece for later. Since for the back spider, I just printed it and cut out the back spider on a piece of paper. Then I end up tracing that onto the piece of spandex and I cut the spider out. Now to attach the spiders on, first put the shirt onto its body form. And with the other piece of leather that had the chest spider silhouette on it, I put that on the spot where I want the spider to be, and I used a washable marker to mark the placement of the spider. To glue the chest spider on, I started with gluing the core of the spider and worked my way out to the legs. To attach the back spider, what I did was nailed it on to the form, and then take my time gluing it on with washable glue. Then I let the glue dry and sewed it on. The glove design I'm going to show you is pretty simple and straightforward. I went with a grade school favorite, the turkey hand. Before we begin, when you are making your gloves, I recommend you make a test pair just to see how it goes with the material you're using. The gloves. First, I trace around my hand, then refine and clean that up. Then I take a ruler and go around it by 2 or 3 millimeters, and now I make my master pattern. I traced it onto another sheet of paint, pin it to 2 layers of fabric, set my sewing machine on a basic stitch to stitch it around the line. Make sure your machine isn't cutting the pattern when you're sewing it. Once done, tear the paper off and cut the glove out and give it a test fit. Once your gloves are done, put the bloody holes in the gloves because you have no idea on how badly seeing a Spider-Man costume without the holes for the web serves or holes for the webbing to come out of really annoys me. For the boots, what I did was pretty simple. I just measured around my foot, the middle of my foot near the toe. I give about like 4 centimeters for the length of the toe, and we use my leg measurements. I fold in a piece of paper in half and make 1/2 of my pattern. Fold out the pattern and it should look something like a Ninja Turtle foot. This is a very simple pattern that I did and it works fine. Okay guys, for the websters, all I was aiming for was just the texture of them. As you guys can see, I have a little piece of metal. This is actually a little part from a RC car, which I just got at a hobby store. These are really nothing special. All this thing is it's just a thick with elastic band with several pieces of felt that is layered and have a silver leather on top. But you guys can find plenty of great tutorials online that will show you on how to make web servers. For this grip line I have right here, all this is plastic wrap that I just rolled into web line. I know some tutorials people end up making that out of glue. Personally, I just find that wrap have that more of a stringy, fibrous look to it. Okay, before I talk about the webbing, there's something I need to bring up. In the comics, Peter Parker used silk screening for making his costume. The reason why I haven't talked about this until now was, well, personally put, I haven't tried silk screening yet. Yeah, and I don't know on how well silk screening for this costume will work for someone that basically make his costume in bedroom, or in my case, the kitchen table. So for the process that I'm showing you guys on how to make, it worked great for the one costume, and plus, we're going to be getting that 3D webbing look. First, wash your costume. Why? Because new fabric has starches that might prevent the webbing from sticking onto the fabric permanently. Now put your pieces onto their body form. If you have something that is in the shape of your own body, that would be better than the ones I made. If you have a more specific web design in mind, you can use washable markers to mark it out first. As for me, I just eyeballed it. I started with the drag line webbing, then I moved on to the sticky silk. Side set overnight, and then the next day I saw it all over again. And so this will probably take you, I don't know, like 2 to 3 days just to put all the webbing on. Okay. One more thing before we go. One of the things that I made for my suit is this nifty little web bag. Okay, the rope that I have on, I actually hand crochet with my own fingers. And also, my bag do glow in the dark. Very nice. That's it, we're done. The only thing left I have to tell you guys is that when washing it, wash it inside and out. No, preferably on the cold and let it hang dry. Thanks you guys for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys right here next time on Make It So. So, sayonara!
キラリと光る光の目安らぎ捨ててすべてを捨てて悪を追って空かける
Change the pardon
君はなぜ君はなぜ戦い続けるのか命をかけて一筋に無敵の男スパイダーマン夜のしじまのハイウェイキラリと光る光の目苦しみ背負い愛をも捨てて悪を探し空かける
Change the pardon
君はなぜ君はなぜ戦い続けるのか命をかけて一筋に無敵の男スパイダーマン誰も知らない街角にキラリと光る光の目悲しみこらえとも捨てて悪を探り空かける
Change the pardon
君はなぜ君はなぜ戦い続けるのか命をかけて一筋に無敵の男スパイダーマン
Spider-Man